All right, chemistry, buckle up, because I'm not happy. I'm not pleased. I'm upset, irritated. Um, yeah, I won't dance around that. If you were in class at some point today or tomorrow or yesterday, I don't know. If you were in class, you've already heard this. If you are fully remote, you're hearing this for the first time. But I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. The reason I'm annoyed it has to do with the test that y'all took to review for the midterm. It was a midterm review test. All right. And the reason that I'm annoyed is because of a very specific question that was supposed to be very simple and straightforward, and for many of you, for like 3/4 of y'all, it was. But for about a fourth of you, I actually counted it out. You decided to take a different option. All right. The question that I'm looking at now. These are all the questions that were on your test. They're not in the same order that you took them, because it does randomize for you. However, all of these questions were there. So if you go back and you look at the assignment, you'll be able to see them. Right. The question that I'm talking about, for me, was question number 19, right here. Convert the melting point of mercury 2 degrees Celsius. All right, so what you were supposed to do was find a temperature, probably in Kelvin, convert it to Celsius, because that's what's supposed to happen. All right. Now, I am going to find the chem reference table and attach a few relevant pages here. Oh, don't, okay, it attached everything. Chem reference table. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So, we're gonna... Oh, wait, let me just do this. There it is. All right, the periodic table, the page after the periodic table, and the page after the periodic table, but it's the same info, right, just for different elements. And the reason we're looking at this is because they ask us in number 19, I ask you in number 19 about the melting point of mercury in degrees Celsius. All right, there's actually, now that I think about it, one more page from the reference table that would be useful. Boom. So, if I'm looking for a temperature in Celsius, all right, convert the melting point of mercury 2 degrees Celsius, then according to my reference table, right, it sounds like a calculation. I haven't asked you to memorize many things. There's one thing that I've asked you to like memorize, and it's really just remember how to do it. Most stuff is on the reference table, so take a look down there in the very bottom. I'm going to highlight it with, well, not highlight it, I'm going to dance around it with my mouse. Temperature. Your temperature in Kelvin, I'll even zoom in. The temperature in Kelvin, ooh, quality, equals the temperature in Celsius plus 273. Okay. So if I need the Celsius and subtract 273 from both sides, it would be Kelvin minus 273, and that's how I would get my temperature in Celsius. Okay. Next thing, and so that's what it's asking at the end, but we have to look for the melting point of mercury. Now this is something that I do not expect you to know off the top of my head. Heck, I don't know it off the top of my head. So that's what it'll look somewhere. All year long. If you didn't know how to do something, where something would be, how to find something, I've told you the first place to look. In your reference table, right? Maybe here. Maybe you remember that Hg is mercury, but this periodic table only has, limited information on it, because it's an itty-bitty box. However, flip the page, right? After that, you have all of this stuff, all of this information, right? And if we look, mercury is atomic number 80. So let me move over. And let me find atomic number 80. There it is, mercury, okay? I'm going to zoom out a little bit still, just so that I can show both number 80, mercury, and the information here at the top. We focused only here on atomic number, the symbol, and the name. However, I trust that you as juniors, can continue to read and look through this information. Look through the reference table. Use the resources available to you. Use the stuff that you can use. So Mercury here has a lot of information. Look what happens to be right here, the melting point of any given element on the periodic table in Kelvin, K for Kelvin. So it says that for Mercury, it's 234. So 234 Kelvin. That's the melting point. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the question. I know that Kelvin equals Celsius plus 273. And if I know the Kelvin temperature is 234, well, that equals Celsius plus 273. If I need to solve for Celsius, I subtract 273 from both sides. And I get that Celsius equals negative 39. Negative 39. Now here's the thing. Because I put this test on my CPA and I made it a fill-in-the-blank, I knew that I was going to have to go in and look at the answers, because there's no way that I could guess all the different ways that people are going to enter in negative 39 degrees Celsius. Maybe you just put in negative 39. Maybe you said negative 39 Celsius. Maybe you said negative 39 degrees Celsius. Maybe you said negative 39 C, right? You see where I'm going with this? There are many options here. So I put in as many options as I could, but I still knew that I would have to go back and look at it. So I went back and looked. And what I found was an odd number. This number popped up often. And originally I was like, ah, okay, it kind of popped up. But I took a closer look, and it popped up 25% of the time. 25% of the answers were negative 38.83, which is very specific. Very specific. Oddly specific. And I thought at first maybe I had forgotten something. Maybe I misread the reference table. Maybe I used the wrong version of the reference table. So I looked at the reference table again. At the temperature conversion, it's 273. Right. Technically, if we're being very precise and exact, and I'm doing this in a real lab where the settings are calibrated to certain amounts, then it would be 273.15. But even if I subtracted that, I would get negative 38.85, not 0.83. So okay. Then I thought maybe the melting point is has decimal places on it, but it doesn't. It's just 234. So then I thought, what would I do if I was a teenager and I didn't know what I was doing? If I was a teenager and I didn't know what I was doing, I'd probably be like, hey, Google, melting point of, okay, not water. What was it? It was mercury. Okay, no, but I need it in... Didn't even finish the Google search. Like I mistyped something, and I didn't even finish the Google search. Look what it is. Negative 38.83 degrees Celsius. Now explain... so I'm upset because there is no way, there is absolutely no way that if you had been using the reference table, or even if you had been using your notes, even if you try to say, well, the last test was open note, so I thought this one was open note. All right, fine, use your notes. There's no way in the reference table, which we just looked at, and in your notes, which I've looked at fairly thoroughly. So Miss Summers and I have been using that and curating it over the last however many years we've been teaching this class. There's nowhere you're going to find a melting point of mercury that is that exact and that precise. 4 sig figs out to the 100th of a degree. even when we take temperatures in class, the thermometers that we use go out to the 10th of a degree. So even if by chance we were able to get mercury and measure its melting point, we'd only have it to the 10th. There is absolutely no way that 25% of people found this through means other than resources you shouldn't have been using. And that's what upsets me. That's what I'm irritated about. So I had to spend some time talking with Dr. Infante, the chair of the science department. I had to spend time talking with Mr. Garofalo. And the reason I had to do that is because this is very, like, I can't, you can't hide this. This is blatant, all right? And then I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, well, maybe, you know, here are the thoughts that next crossed my mind, which continued to fuel the anger that I have towards the situation. Well, you know, Clelum seems just old enough to not understand how to use the internet, so he won't even know how to look for it. Well, Clelum's young enough to remember what it was like, so he won't care that we cheated. Well, Mr. Clelum doesn't really care how we get the answers. He just wants us to have the right answers, so I can just look. I'm monologuing again. So I kept thinking, right? Reason after reason after reason. And the more reasons that I thought of, the more insulted and lousy I felt about this. That's lousy. I don't even have to hit enter. This isn't even going to enter my search history. It's literally just there. All right, and for y'all to really think that's okay is even more annoying to me. The reason it's more annoying to me is because I went to CBA. I don't remember if I've advertised that or if we're, you know, made aware of that. You know, you have alumni teachers. There are like 8 of us. But we know what it's like, and we remember. And frankly, if you had just written, like, I would have preferred, I have literally no idea what to do. Well, then I have a point where I know that I can help. I know that I can be of use. I know that like, I must have missed something. But this was the only question where it was like, melting point, Google. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't help, you know, all the pandemic time stuff. This was online, and a little bit of this was my own doing. But I would prefer, if you don't know something, just say I don't know it, right? The other thing, the second thing about this, was that I got emails after the test about other questions from other people. But I didn't get a single email from anyone in chemistry about this question, about how to find the answer to this question, about how to do this question. And nobody. I don't know how y'all think I'm gonna know something is wrong unless y'all say something. I can't be upset with you for not knowing stuff. That's like why you take classes, is to figure that stuff out, right? You don't go into a class that you know everything about, because what are you looking to do? You take classes that you don't know stuff about because you're interested, or because you have to. Maybe it's a requirement, right? You guys are still in high school, you just have to. But I can't be upset with you for not knowing how to do stuff. I'm upset that y'all didn't ask for help, that y'all just went and did this, that y'all maybe think it's okay. I don't know. I'm upset. I'm upset. All right. Like I said, I talked with Dr. Infante. I talked with Mr. Garofalo. I've already sent out emails addressing the situation with the 25% of people that this applies to. And if I got monologued again, and if I have to fine tooth go through everything again, I will. And I'll say this, in addition, I'm going to end the video, and then I'll make a separate video where I'll be calm, and I'll go through the test. The midterm just became that much more difficult, because now I have to. Now I have to. Right? I'm still upset, but I'm gonna calm myself down. I'm gonna take a little bit, and I'll make a video to go through the actual test. Alright, so I will see you soon. Be good, kids.